MLS. Staff would bring the items out via a book truck. Book truck would come back. They disinfect the book truck. Staff would go out wearing masks and gloves. So some of the staff won't be coming back at phase one. There are several that have daycare situations. It will be cleared up before we get to phase two. So there's several that won't be there. So we're looking at, and the handout I gave you, I had 10 to 5 doing curbside delivery Monday through Saturday. Unfortunately, we're not going to have staff to man on Saturday. So we're looking at 10 to 5 Monday through Friday. And again, this is just phase one. Once we get to phase two, we'll revisit this. We may go back to our regularly scheduled hours. We'll just see how it goes. It's all kind of a wait and see approach. Library account must be in good standing. It cannot be blocked in order to check materials out. We're limiting the items 10 per person to per day, because we just don't want a patron checking out individually 30 items a day. It's, it'd just be a little too much. We're also limiting for families to have only 20 checkouts per day. And staff would be available during these operating hours, also for readers advisory. So if a patron does call up and, they're looking for some maybe a detective series, they've read all the Harry Bosch novels, and maybe we can recommend the John Sanford, Lucas Davenport series, or, the Lincoln Rhymes series from Jeffrey Beaver. Also reference service would be available. And that's been constant right now. Tim has been receiving reference questions via email, so he's been answering that. So that's the curbside. And so tonight, we're just talking strictly phase one. We're not even approaching phase two, because that's going to be, from phase one to phase two is going to be the big leap, I think, to having patrons enter the building. But we're not even there. And even if the governor does announce phase two by mid-June, I'll be coming back to the board with a plan in place, for phase two, but we're not there yet. So
Manny,
that's what I got
regarding
phase one. Yes.
Oh, I just had a quick question. So it's Monday through Friday, 10 to 5. Monday
Yes.
through Friday, 10 to 5.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And along with that, just to be clear, so Manny, it seems like this just follows consistently with the Mass Board of Library Commissioners guidelines with respect to what should be done on curbside. Is there any real distinctions or deviations from that we should know about in how you put this together? I mean, the hours obviously are up to you. The clarifications in terms of the hold is up to you, but is there any real difference there?
Not at all. No, we're following
Did you lose me?
NBLC protocol, and our neighboring libraries are doing the same thing. No, well, your screen's frozen right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Okay. Well, thank you. That helps.
It's frozen for me.
Okay. Hey, can you hear me?
Manny, what kinds of, I know yep.
Yes.
You're back. Okay.
Yeah.
Manny, the guidelines for businesses have detail on kind of policy, procedure, and training for employees. Can you speak to that a little bit about, even before we open to the public, what those steps are and what's being communicated and training for employees? Maybe I'm offline now.
Yes, so we've already
I
started
can hear you,
the,
Colin. You're frozen.
Yeah,
we've already
I can
started
hear
the-
you,
the
Colin.
protocol for
I think we've
the,
slowed down.
curbside assistance. We've,
Okay.
yeah. Can you can hear me? Okay,
I
so,
see some people moving.
staff's already begun the process
I
of
Yeah, go ahead, Manny. We can hear you.
making sure everything is safe. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so staff has already started the kind of the procedures to make sure everything is secure when it comes to the items leaving the building and bringing the items out to the patron, having no interaction, no hand-to-hand transaction with the patron. If patrons do have materials, they will be asked to put them in the book drop. We will be emptying the book drop several times a day we'll eventually quarantine those items in the community room. They'll be there for 72 hours. So staff has been instructed with that. This process, there's really, staff will be wearing gloves, they'll be wearing masks. At this point, we're not going to have patrons enter the building. So once we get to phase 2, we're going to have to get really intense when it comes to making sure everything is clean, making sure staff disinfects everything, making our patrons feel safe. So
So I know there's a big step between phase 1 and phase 2, but even in phase 1, when it's just closed to the staff of the library, akin to what businesses are having to do that don't have the public coming in, there are policies, procedures for how to keep that facility clean, how to maintain social distancing, how to keep that workplace safe. Aside from the curbside delivery, have you gone through those steps and trained the staff on how they need just to engage within the building?
Yes. So
Okay.
Kathy Belharney has arranged the schedule to have very limited staff. And with the staff, there will be social distancing. So we'll only have 1 or 2 staff at the circulation desk. There'll only be 1 staff in the children's area. Tim will be at the reference area. Then myself and Pam will be up in the offices. So there is social distancing protocols in place. We don't want to bring everyone in and, then we're breaking the 6 feet rule. So if that's what you're asking, yeah, we're doing that. And we have gloves, we have masks, we have.
How about like scheduled cleanings? Have you identified what are the areas that need to be cleaned? What's the schedule for that? Who's responsible for that? How is it being checked on?
Yeah. So the cleaning crew, our cleaning company has stepped up during this pandemic, and they will be back to cleaning the building 5 days a week, making sure everything is cleaned, all the countertops, the keyboards, the screens. So they've been bringing in more people each evening to make sure everything has a deep clean. So they've stepped up.
How about, if I understand the guidelines correctly, like during the day, there are supposed to be cleanings in certain areas. That's kind of what I'm interested in, understanding what that process is throughout the day to clean those high traffic areas, even when it's just staff in the building.
So the NBLC recommends that staff will clean their area quite frequent. So that would be the countertops, that would be the keyboards, that'd be any equipment that they're using, which we do have. We have the disinfectant spray. We do have a limited amount of wipes, but we do have a lot of disinfectant spray that we were able to retrieve, gloves, paper towels. So staff will be doing that on a regular basis, making sure that their work area is going to be disinfected and clean. Telephone, same thing.
Okay. What questions other folks have? I've been monopolizing the conversation here.
No, I'm good.
So if I understand that correctly, Manny, each person is responsible for their home base to keep it clean?
Yes.
Okay. And what about like the restrooms during the day and the outside doors, things like that? Or is everybody able to participate?
Oh, yeah. And
Okay.
staff's been doing that. That have been coming in to retrieve materials. They've been doing that already.
Okay.
The doors to the restrooms. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Staff is, when they do come in to, get their, work to bring home, they have been cleaning their station. So it's been constant.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Folks, I'm trying to dial in for the audio since my connection's been a bit choppy. Bear with me for a second.
So, Manny, while Colin's doing that, just to confirm, in the event that the administration authorizes businesses in the Commonwealth to move to phase 2, you would anticipate coming back to the board to talk about what that encompasses for the library and to seek approval before undertaking any steps to move into phase 2. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So until further notice, the library would be operating, if we approve it tonight, on curbside.
Correct.
Okay.
And so, Manny, when people go online and place a hold on the material, of course, it has to be on the shelves at the Boyden. By placing a hold on it, does that become a curbside order?
Yes. So the patron can go online, go onto our catalog, find an item that's available at the library and place a hold.
Okay.
And that would be considered curbside. So we pull the material and put it on our hold shelf. So patron can call the library and say, I am outside right now, or arrange a time. So Kathy Belharney and Kathy Lowy are on a Google spreadsheet right now trying to work out appointments as well.
Oh, good. Okay. Great. That sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah. And things, we have a plan in place, but of course, this is all new. So, we're going to be flexible. And if, I'll be meeting with staff regularly, see what works and what doesn't work, what needs to be changed. So, we'll see what happens.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Maybe one of the recommendations from some of the state guidelines were to keep, for businesses to keep a record of who's been in and out of the facility. I'm wondering if there's any sort of, when you're doing the curbside pickup, and I'm sorry, I'll back up, the list of who's been in and out of the facility so they can, so that can be used for contact tracing, should there be an infection.
Yeah. So the MBLC, sorry.
My suggestion was, when you're doing the curbside pickups, if that process can include the time at which those materials were picked up, just so you can, if there is an infection, either one way or the other, you can have that information available for the library and for the community.
Well, part of the plan that was issued by the MBLC, and I have been in contact with the town attorney, and libraries are, we need to protect patron confidentiality, and that's in Mass General Laws, Chapter 78, Section 6. According to that, and again, I need to get and this is, believe me, this is a hot topic with libraries in Massachusetts. Libraries are not required when it comes to providing patron records, making that public. So that's been a very hot topic. See if we're allowed to do contact tracing. Some municipalities said, no, you can't do that because of Mass General laws. And again, if you go to the Massachusetts libraries reopening, they do list that right at the beginning.
What's the general law site, Manny?
So it's Mass General Law, Chapter 78, Libraries, Section 7, Establishment by Cities and Towns Records. A town may establish and maintain public libraries for its inhabitants under regulation prescribed by the city council or by the town, and may receive, hold, and manage any gift, bequest, or devise therefore. That part of the records of a public library which reveals the identity and intellectual pursuits of a person using such library shall not be a public record defined by clause 76 of section 7 of chapter 4. Library authorities may disclose or exchange information relating to library users for the purposes of interlibrary cooperation and coordination, including but not limited to the purposes of facilitating the sharing of resources among library jurisdictions. So I need to get
so it's exempt from the public records law, but it's not exempt from collection. So to, I think Colin's point, we're not looking to publish it. We're looking to have the data available so that if somebody with COVID or somebody contracts COVID while and then comes to the library, that for tracing purposes, that's something that is trackable.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get clarification from the town attorney, because it's such a, other towns are going through the same thing with libraries. It's such a sensitive subject. But I see where Colin's coming from, and I'm on the agreement with Colin. I just want to make sure that we're, everything's straight and narrow.
Would it be permissible?
Sorry, Colin, go ahead.
As you start the curbside pickup, to at least record the data. This person requested a pickup. It was picked up at this time and this date. You can decide whether to destroy the data later on if it's not permissible. But at least you'll have it should anyone at the library be infected or someone infected return a book to the library. You're going to want those data on either side. Now, whether it's shareable is a legal matter to figure out.
So I think the question really, if you were confirming with town council as to what you could do with that data, I think the question that you need to reconcile more than anything else is how long do you have to keep that data for once you have it? What's your record retention requirements as a town entity? But I mean, you're already, the statute is already giving you, again, you're not paying me for a legal opinion here, nor should you be relying on my legal opinion for the purposes of this call, given how much I've studied it. But it says that you can disclose or exchange information for the purposes of interlibrary cooperation and coordination. So it's acknowledging that you can certainly have access to data. It's what you do with that data that is the restrictive component. And along with that, how long you have to keep it once you have it.
Right.
And clearly that data is not asking, that the statute's not envisioning health data associated with tracing.
Right.
So.
Christine, you had a question. You got to unmute yourself though. You have to unmute, Christine.
Okay.
There you go.
I just have a point of clarification. So, Colin, you're just asking for the person's name and time of pickup. Is that correct? We're not necessarily asking what they picked up, right? We're just asking, right? So does that help? Like, we're not revealing what these people are taking. We're just revealing that, yes, indeed, this person took something out at such and such a time. Is that allowed by the law?
That'd be the
Or-
question for Manny and town council. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
yeah, you have the records of what they checked out either way. It's what you release in the instance where it is needed. So my suggestion would be just as you have their order that they're placing or their request, you just at the end of that, whatever that on a spreadsheet or whatever you're tracking on, just put the time and date. You'll have the data. Then you can, as we talk with town council, can decide whether any of that is shareable should the need arise. But at least we'll have it there.
So
And you can withhold the items to Christine's point if that becomes a necessity.
So maybe I overlooked it, and so if I did, then I apologize. Can I just go back and clarify then? If when we're talking about curbside pickup, how are you? Aren't you scheduling them for pickup? Or
we
you
are,
and-
but they're in case where a patron calls in, but we're gonna have their record up on the screen, like Colin was saying. It's gonna be there.
Sure, but my point being, if you're scheduling patrons for pickup, and they're coming at their allotted time for picking up materials, you've already got a record anyhow, because you've already
Yeah.
established that, otherwise you're looking at patrons coming in and there being a line around the corner and down Baker Street as people are waiting to get in there and get the latest issue of what they're looking for that you have on the shelf. So,
Right.
I mean, in some ways, by scheduling pickups, you're creating at least the fabric for the reporting and record keeping that Colin is recommending.
Yeah. And that'll be on the Google spreadsheet already. So I think the issue will come up, and again, this is further down the line, once we get to phase 2, how we will do that. And as far as when patrons entering the building, we'll have to, and that's something I'll need guidance from not only our town council, but the MBLC as far as, how do we do that? Do we have a sign-in sheet, literally a sign-in sheet, once a patron enters the building? So, but that's further down the road.
Right. I think in particular when we're still in such a fragile state from, community health, that we want to do what we can to track this should that, if that unfortunate circumstance were to occur.
Yeah.
Any other questions or recommendations for Manny? Or are we at the point where we should take a vote on the proposal? Someone like to make a motion?
I would move that we authorize Manny as the director to move forward with his curbside pickup proposal for phase 1 as outlined.
Do you want to include that includes the hours in your proposal, just to be clear?
Sure. I don't have them open in front of me. So from 10 to 5?
Yes, Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday, 10 to 5, for the purposes of conducting curbside pickup through phase 1 of the opening of the library associated with COVID.
Kevin,
I
is there a
second the motion.
Thank you, Deb. Any discussion? All those in favor? Tom, do we have an aye or a nay? We'll take a thumbs up as a yay. All right. 5-0.
And just to clarify, this will begin on Thursday, the 28th. So
Okay.
we have signage ready and we'll be posting on social media. I will be doing a Facebook Live tomorrow, kind of going over the kind of the policy of the curbside.
Great.
Okay. Anything else we need to cover this evening?
I do apologize. The sound was kind of wonky, Colin, when you were talking before, so it was.
May have just been my wonky talking, so I don't know. Happened before. Manny, thanks for your work on this. I know this is a challenging situation. One step closer to bringing our patrons back, and appreciate the thought you put into this, and again, your leadership throughout this. Thank you, trustees, for getting on a call to push this forward. Thank you, Foxborough Cable Access, as always, for getting us connected with the community to do our business. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Mr. Penders? Christine, all in favor? All five. All right. High fives for everybody. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
You too. Stay well, everybody.
Manny.
Manny, thank you very much. Paul
Thank
Beck,
you,
thank you very much.
Thank you.